We've stopped a few kilometres farther down Ruta 25, Route 25, on our way to Las Plumas. At the last stop we talked about the characteristics of the Chubut River, which is an allogenic dryland river flowing permanently, and we've also talked in previous stops about its flow regime being driven by snowmelt from the Andes. If we look over in that direction there, you might just be able to see the line of lighter green. Those are the willow trees predominantly that are marking the Rio Chubut. But in the foreground here, moving down towards the Rio Chubut, is one of its tributaries, one of its many tributaries through the desert. These are endogenic or endogenous dryland rivers. They arise within the dryland, flow for a few tens of kilometres, and then join the Rio Chubut. You can see the river is dry. This is its normal state. It will only flow, very occasionally after heavy rainfall events. Maybe there's a little bit of snow in the desert sometimes, and it might get some snow melt, but probably it flows for less than 1% of the time. Okay, there'll be flash flood driven events predominantly after heavy rainstorm. The load that these tributaries carry is much coarser than that in the main Chubut River. The Chubut River is predominantly carrying sand and a little bit of gravel. These tributaries are predominantly carrying gravel with a little bit of sand. There's been a lot of excavation work here done, we think, to just try and keep the channel free of obstruction, so when the flash floods come down they don't end up swamping the highway. So they've scraped a lot of the sand and gravel to the side to try and keep the channel clear. At the last step we talked about how the Rio Chubut is a meandering river. It has a sinuous course and it laterally migrates across the valley. These more ephemeral tributaries don't laterally migrate to anything like the same extent. By and large, they're relatively straight. If Manu pans around, you might get a sense of that. As we look upstream, it's a relatively straight course. There are a few bends here and there, but by and large, it's much straighter. It doesn't have the persistence of flow to generate a nice series of cut banks and point bars like the Rio Chubut does. So, in a nutshell, that's a summary of the ephemeral tributaries of the Rio Chubut.